Good thing I've been working out lately. No, I just want to thank again Michael Gott, Lady Bernstein, Angie Dutton for my dance ministry, and the band. They did the thing. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce to you the President of Centers for Spiritual Living, Reverend Dr. John Waterhouse. Now, as President of Centers for Spiritual Living, Reverend John coordinates the services and communications between our centers, ministries, and the rest of the global organization. He and his wife, Reverend Barbara, are founding co-ministers of Center for Spiritual Living in Asheville, North Carolina, a dynamic, heart-centered spiritual community of approximately 350 members. Reverend John was ordained by the Reverend Terry Cole Whitaker in 1988. He is the author of the book, 5 Steps to Freedom, an Introduction to Spiritual Mind Treatment, and has been a devoted religious scientist since first attending the Miami Church of Religious Science in 1984. His life's purpose is to reveal and to release the power of divine presence within everyone he meets. Reverend John is passionate about teaching, practicing, supporting the expansion of science and mind in the world. He is particularly interested in the involvement of the men's consciousness movement and has lent his skills and leadership to that effort by leading a myriad of men's support groups and retreats. And tonight, he is here to support our center and celebrating our 50th anniversary. Please join me in welcoming the Reverend Dr. John Waterhouse.
I'm allergic to podiums. Wow, this is so wonderful. You have such a beautiful space. This is such an amazing ministry. I am so grateful that that symbol is in the center of who you are. I love that symbol. Thank you for being here. But I have to say, I am confused about one thing. We had that early presentation up here. Which is the real Dr. Petra? This one had the vestments on. I mean, red is really cool. 50 years. 50 years. Our center is 18 years old. We started in our living room in January of 1995, but 50 years, that's amazing. And as I was watching the video with Bert, my first thought was, I want a Bert. That there's probably one in our community. And I'm going to start looking at everybody going, are you Bert? Someone that can tell that story and remember that history so many years later. That is so wonderful. That is so rich. There's something just so divine in knowing that people can remember. And hard times. Show me anything worth doing that doesn't have some challenges. So that's nothing. The fact that you move beyond that and do something extraordinary is what's amazing. And I want you to know that there are communities that are older than Center for Spiritual Living Dallas. But that's part of the game too. That's part of the experience. We want communities at different ages. We don't want them all to be 100 years old, but wow, isn't it wonderful that we have 50, 60, 70, even 90-year-old communities? We have communities that are older than our movement, actually. And isn't that wonderful? And isn't it wonderful that we have one-year-old ministries that are beginning and burgeoning something new? We have to do it all these kind of ways. But here's the main thing that I get as I experience who you are and come into your space to be with you. This that I'm so honored to do. Is that you are creating a model for how these younger communities can be in 50 years. They can use who you are to set an intention, to have a mental equivalent as to what things will be like for them. I'm doing it. I'm sitting in this room going, okay, sure, 50 years, this kind of love, this kind of intention, absolutely. And one thing I'm very clear about as I experience and meet everyone here and know who you are as a spiritual community is there is an element of excellence that runs through everything here. Everything that you do is done first rate, top notch. And that's what we bring to this world is a sense that we can do things in a very, very beautiful and wonderful and elegant way. Where our teaching is the most elegant teaching I know in the world. It teaches us that the divine dwells within us, that we are that divine creative presence in the world, and that as we speak our intention into the law takes it and it creates it into our life. And as we are absolutely clear, and we have set aside the emotions that Bert spoke of, that what we get is the mirrored reflection of that understanding. And that when we do, things work. When we do it consciously, when we do it clearly, when we do it in community, it works. We have some 400 communities that are members of our organization right now. Little bitty ones, great big ones, and everything in between. But it's Center for Spiritual Living Dallas that can be a model for everything else that's going on in this movement, so that we know that the excellence that is happening here can happen everywhere. So I want to thank you for showing up, for continuing to do this work, for coming to classes, for learning these principles, for applying them to your lives. So that not only can you have this wonderful community here, but so that each one of you and so many more go out in to different parts of North Texas and touch more lives and change more lives, and then move to other places in the country and in the world and touch more lives and help more lives transform. We are not a rigid movement. It isn't just about what happens on this sacred ground, but what is taken from this sacred ground out into the world that truly makes a difference. That's who we are. That's what we're doing as an organization. When we were about 5 years old in Asheville, we weren't actually in Asheville. We were, the word Asheville wasn't even in our name. We were in a rural part of North Carolina called Fairview. Fairview is the most common community name in the United States. But it was pretty, and we liked it, and we have become known at that time of our history as being in the cornfield, because there was silage corn, a feed corn that was grown all around us, and when it grew high enough you couldn't see the building. However, we did some wonderful things there, and one thing that we did was we visioned for a new center. And two of our practitioners found a piece of property, or had a piece of property, and they helped us manage to acquire that and to build our facility. And we have a beautiful sanctuary and two two-story buildings, and we actually have an elementary school right now, which we're very proud of. And that has come through this 18 years of work that we're doing. Thank you, I got that. But on that particular night that we introduced this idea of buying this land and building these buildings, at least the first couple of buildings, we cast a vision about how there were people in the city of Asheville that were looking for us and how we wanted them to find us. And that sounded like a really great plan. And then there was this older gentleman who's now since made this transition, who was sitting in the back, and he had had a stroke, and he walked with a walker, and he stood up and wanted to be recognized that night. And he said, here's what you need to know, and you haven't realized this yet. Is what you're doing is for you, yes. And what you're doing is for those people in Asheville that are looking for this center and this teaching, yes, absolutely. But what you are doing tonight as you choose to move forward with this dream is you are touching the lives of people 100 years from now. Whoa. The room fell silent, and we were captured and captivated by that idea. The people that we would never know would have their lives changed because of what we were doing there. And that's exactly what you were doing. By growing this community, by supporting this community, you're changing lives 50 years from now. when this community is 100 years old. So what you do is noble. It is essential to our movement and to the transformation of humanity. Now, we're not taking an offering tonight, right? So all of you will be in church tomorrow morning. Here, not another one, the center, right? And we'll celebrate that, and we'll keep doing this and loving this and making this that we do as religious scientists a way of changing the world. I'm so grateful for who you are and all that you do. God bless you. And thank you.